amazing listeners. Welcome back to Story Essence Podcast, where books come alive in minutes. I'm your host, and oh my goodness, do we have something incredible for you today.
And I'm your co-host, and I am absolutely buzzing with excitement. Today, we're diving into Part 5, Recovery and Hope, the grand finale of our journey through The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Besselvanderkolk. This is it, everyone, the chapter that will leave you feeling inspired and hopeful.
After everything we've explored together, the science of trauma, the impact on the brain and body, the various treatment approaches, this final part is where Vanderkolk shows us that healing isn't just possible, it's transformative. So let's dive right in with the goal of healing itself.
Here's something profound that Vanderkolk wants us to understand. Healing from trauma is not about erasing the past. It's not about pretending terrible things never happened or somehow magically forgetting them. Instead, it's about something much more powerful: reclaiming agency, restoring safety, and integrating traumatic experiences into a meaningful life story.
Wait, so you're saying survivors might never completely forget what happened to them?
Exactly. And that's actually the beautiful part. They may never forget, but they can learn to live fully, love deeply, and feel joy again. Vanderkolk emphasizes something incredibly hopeful here. Recovery is possible for everyone, but it requires 3 essential things: patience, compassion, and the right support.
This leads us to one of the most important perspective shifts in the entire book, and honestly, in our entire society. Vanderkolk calls it moving from what's wrong with you to what happened to you. Can you imagine how different our world would be if we made this shift?
It's revolutionary. Think about it. Society often stigmatizes trauma survivors as broken or mentally ill. We look at someone struggling, and our first instinct is to ask what's wrong with them, as if they're defective somehow. But Vanderkolk insists we must shift our perspective completely.
So instead of asking what's wrong with a person, we ask what happened to them. That's incredible. It's like switching from blame to understanding.
Exactly. This reframing replaces blame with understanding, and that single shift opens the door to healing. It moves us from judgment to compassion, from seeing someone as broken to seeing someone as having experienced something difficult.
Now, let's talk about something fundamental to recovery: the power of safety and relationships. Vanderkolk tells us that healing always begins with one crucial element: safety. Survivors must feel safe in their bodies and in relationships before any other healing can occur.
And here's what's fascinating. Secure, supportive relationships are the most powerful antidote to trauma. Not medication, not fancy techniques, but relationships. Families, friendships, and therapeutic communities create spaces where survivors can trust again.
There's this beautiful quote from Vanderkolk that really captures this. We are hurt in relationships, and we heal in relationships. It's so simple, yet so profound.
That gives me chills every time. Now here's where Vanderkolk gets really practical about recovery: reconnecting with the body. Remember how we learned that trauma gets stuck in the body? Well, recovery requires embodiment, literally learning to live in the body without fear.
So, how do people actually do that? It sounds so abstract.
Great question. Vanderkolk describes specific practices like yoga, breathwork, dance, and mindful movement. These practices reconnect survivors to their sensations in a safe, controlled way. This helps them recognize emotions before they escalate and learn to regulate their nervous system.
And Vanderkolk puts it so beautifully. Reclaiming the body is reclaiming life itself. It's like survivors are literally coming back home to themselves.
Now let's explore something that really showcases the power of human connection: the role of community and creativity in healing. Vanderkolk risks this stark observation. Isolation is a hallmark of trauma, but connection is the cure.
Community-based healing takes so many beautiful forms: group therapy, support groups, theater, art, and storytelling. These approaches help survivors break the silence that trauma creates. But creativity does something even more amazing. It allows survivors to transform pain into meaning and expression.
And Vanderkolk gives us some incredible examples. Picture this: veterans who struggled with PTSD engaging in theater projects, finding ways to express their experiences through performance. Children who couldn't find words for their trauma, discovering their voices through art.
Oh, wow! And adults who had lost their sense of joy, rediscovering it through music and movement. These aren't just nice activities, they're literally rewiring the brain and creating new pathways for healing.
This brings us to something crucial that happens in recovery: integration, or making trauma part of the narrative rather than the whole story. Vanderkolk explains that traumatic memories remain fragmented until they are integrated into a coherent story.
So, recovery is about making trauma one chapter in life's book, not the entire story. That's such a powerful metaphor. Survivors move from thinking, I am my trauma, to I experienced trauma and I am more than that.
Exactly. And this integration does something beautiful. It restores a sense of continuity, identity, and self-worth. The person gets to be whole again, not defined by their worst experiences.
Now, here's where Vanderkolk really blows our minds. He talks about resilience and post-traumatic growth. We often think of trauma as something that only destroys, but Vanderkolk shows us that trauma can also lead to incredible growth.
It's amazing. Survivors often emerge with greater compassion, strength, and appreciation for life than they ever had before. Post-traumatic growth includes 3 key areas. First, deeper empathy, because they understand suffering in a way others can't.
Second, a stronger sense of purpose. They often become advocates, helpers, or find meaning in ways they never would have before their trauma.
And third, renewed creativity and connection. They often discover new talents, form deeper relationships, and experience life more fully. Vanderkolk highlights incredible stories of survivors who didn't just recover, but flourished, turning their pain into power.
Speaking of the future, Vanderkolk also looks ahead to what's coming in trauma treatment. He points out that trauma research has literally transformed psychiatry and psychology as we know them.
The future lies in integrative, holistic approaches that include body, mind, and community, not just talk therapy in isolation. There are emerging therapies like neurofeedback, which helps retrain brainwave patterns, and even psychedelics under controlled conditions, showing incredible promise in clinical trials.
And advanced brain research is opening up possibilities we never imagined. But Vanderkolk reminds us that while the methods may evolve, the core remained the same: safety, connection, and empowerment.
This brings us to the final crucial understanding: healing as a lifelong journey. Vanderkolk is honest here. Recovery is not a straight line. Survivors may face setbacks, and that's completely normal and expected.
What matters is building resources and resilience over time. Healing is less about finding a perfect cure and more about learning to live fully despite the scars. It's about survivors moving from merely surviving to truly thriving.
Now, let's wrap up with the 7 key takeaways Vanderkolk wants us to remember from this incredible journey. First, healing means integration, not erasure. We don't erase the past, we integrate it.
Second, safety and supportive relationships are the foundation of recovery. Without these, nothing else can work effectively.
Third, reclaiming the body through awareness and movement is essential. We must come home to our bodies to truly heal.
Fourth, community, creativity, and storytelling help survivors transform trauma into something meaningful and expressive.
Fifth, Trauma becomes part of the life narrative, but not the whole story. It's one chapter, not the entire book.
Sixth, post-traumatic growth is not only possible, but common. Survivors can become stronger and more compassionate than ever before.
And seventh, the future of trauma treatment is holistic, body-centered, and filled with hope.
Wow, what an incredible journey this has been. Part 5 really does close the book on such a hopeful note. While trauma reshapes the brain and body, healing and growth are always possible.
Absolutely. With safety, connection, and the right tools, survivors can reclaim their lives and build a future filled with resilience and meaning. That message of hope is what makes this book so transformative.
I'm honestly amazed by how Kolk weaves together neuroscience, psychology, and pure human compassion. The idea that we can not just recover, but actually grow stronger through our struggles, that's revolutionary.
And the practical applications, from yoga and theater to neurofeedback and community support, there are so many pathways to healing. It gives me such hope for anyone who might be struggling.
Well, amazing listeners, that brings us to the grand finale of our journey through The Body Keeps the Score. Thank you so much for joining us through all 5 parts of this incredible exploration.
If this series has moved you, inspired you, or taught you something new, please hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. We love hearing from you about how these books are impacting your lives.
And we're curious, what hopeful lesson are you taking away from this final chapter? Is it the power of relationships? The possibility of post-traumatic growth? The importance of integrating our experiences into our story?
Until next time, this has been Story Essence Podcast, where books come alive in minutes. Keep reading, keep growing, and remember, healing is always possible.